Welcome to Testing Your Organization's Social Media Awareness in Breakers GHI with Jacob Wilkin. Before we begin, just a few brief notes. Please stop by the business hall located in Mandalay Bay, Oceanside, and Shoreline ballrooms on level 2 during the day and for the welcome reception at 5:30 tonight. Also, the Black Hat Arsenal is in the business hall on level 2. Welcome, Jacob. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Just test my clicker works. Cool. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for getting up bright and early to come see my presentation this morning. Today I'm going to be talking to you about testing your organization's social media awareness. So the presentation today is going to be split into two parts. Firstly, I'm going to talk about social media, why I think it's important and why I think we should be testing it. And then we're going to move into the practical part of the presentation in the second half, and I'm going to be talking to you about two open source tools I've developed called Social Mapper and Social Attacker, which hopefully you'll be able to take away and start testing your organization's social media awareness. So who am I? My name is Jacob Wilkin. I'm a security consultant / penetration tester / red teamer / hacker. Over the last couple of years, I've performed hundreds of penetration tests, including social engineering engagements and network tests, web apps, all that stuff. I've hacked into multiple banks, all legally, don't worry. I'm the creator of Spray and Social Mapper, two open source tools. And I'm also British, so I apologize if I apologize too much in this presentation. Thank you. Social media, why is it a big deal? So this graphic from Hootsuite sort of shows you some basic stats about the internet and social media and stuff. 7.6 billion people in the population, 4.3 billion of them are now connected to the internet, 3.4 billion people are now active social media users. If I've done my maths right, I believe you combine those two numbers, and that's about 80% of the population that is connected to the internet are active social media users. That means that about four in 5 people are on social media, and then, as you can see in the last one, most people are connecting to it from mobile devices, and I will come back to why that's important a little bit later. But why do you care? Why do you care about social media? Well, social media phishing is on the rise. In 2017, it went up by 500%. In 2018, it went up by 100% again, according to a Proofpoint report. That's a 10-fold increase in social media-based phishing over the last 2 or 3 years. It's now a preferred vector for attackers, so actually there is more social media phishing or phishing going on social media than there is via business emails. And it's easy to see why when you look at the statistics. 33% click rates you're getting on social media, just because people are on social media, people are clicking things, it's what you do on social media, versus 11% on average for business emails. So you're 3 times more likely to be able to get your click-throughs on social media. And this is important because companies are, they're moving towards bring your own device models. So people are going to be on their devices at home on social media. They're going to be bringing them into your work environments. And even if you, still ship out your own devices like your laptops and phones, give them to your employees, they're going to go on them in their breaks. They're going to go on them after work and so on. And what this means is that social media becomes an alternative attack vector into your organization. So, you guys know about normal phishing pretexts like credential-based phishing. What if their Facebook password is the same as their Active Directory password, and they've got shared credentials, or it's very similar. Malicious file downloads, browser exploitation, all sorts of stuff like that. And if these campaigns come through on social media, the first one, the credential-based phishing, that's probably the most likely one to be an issue, just because they'll be on mobile devices, as I said in the slide before. So probably, unless you're up against like an APT or a nation state, the malicious file downloads and browser exploitations aren't so much of an issue on Android and iOS. So how do we address this? If social media is an issue, how do we address this in our organizations? So as I'm sure you know from the title of the talk that you just walked into, I'm an advocate of improving awareness. We can run mock campaigns to identify who's at risk, the same as you would with normal email-based phishing. And I see this evolving into two types of tests, really. A more passive social media-based test and a more active social media-based test. So moving on to it. So Social Mapper is a tool I developed last year. I released it at Black Hat Arsenal. This is how I see you doing passive testing on your organization's employees for social media awareness. How it works is it's a Python tool, and you basically feed in a LinkedIn company name, and it does a reverse search based off the LinkedIn company name, and it scrapes off all the it scrapes off all the names and the images of all the people that work at that company. Or you can do some open source intelligence of your own, and you'll be able to just feed in a list of URLs to someone's image and a list of names as well. And what it does is it instruments the Firefox web browser, logs into the social media sites with your credentials, and then starts doing name-based searches and then narrowing the results down using facial recognition. And the point of this would be you can enumerate all the profiles of your employees that are linked back to your LinkedIn organization or that you found online. And this is fairly quick. I mean, it depends on your definition of quick. It takes about 24 hours to run on 1,000 people. But, you know, to run like a test, it's not too bad. It's less intrusive. You know, you don't actually have to interact with these employee profiles. The cons are that, you know, you're identifying employee profiles, but you're not actually testing them. You don't know if they're going to accept connection requests. You don't know if they're going to click on links that get sent to them, and so on. And this is what Social Mapper looks like. You can see it's a terminal tool. Sorry, the image quality isn't amazing. I'll try and point to the various bits over here. So you can see at the top, it's a Python tool. You can see we set the company name to Trustwave, so we're phishing, or we're looking for social media accounts belonging to Trustwave employees. We set it to fast mode. There's fast and accurate mode. Accurate is more accurate, faster is faster. We're setting it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram. And then what happens is it goes on LinkedIn, finds the company ID, pulls that out, and then starts scraping employees off LinkedIn. So you can actually only pull out 1,000 people, but you know, this is 1,000 profiles and vectors into your organization that are possible. So. And then in this example below, so you have to imagine this is running on one person, but this is running on 1,000 people. So this is what would be happening on a mass scale in the top example. And you can see for Lawrence Monroe, it logs into the Facebook, the Facebook with our account, and it finds a match. It finds his Facebook profile. It tries to do the same on Twitter, doesn't find anything. Tries to do the same on Instagram. And finds a profile. But this is happening on a mass scale, you know, with thousands of people or more if you do it manually and feed more than 1,000 in. And what you're getting from this is something like this. So you're getting a report from Social Mapper detailing your employees or your targets' social media, basically their presence online, right? So you can see in this one. For the man on the top, we pulled out his LinkedIn profile, and then we've used that to enumerate his Facebook profile. For the lady here, we've found her Facebook, her Twitter, and her Google Plus profile. I know Google Plus doesn't exist anymore. These are some old images. It's actually not part of the tool anymore. And then for the man on the bottom, the same thing, his LinkedIn profile. We found his Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. And that would be a huge document, you know, with like thousands of people in it. So moving on to the second type of testing. So this is a tool called Social Attacker. So you can actually do active testing with social media. I'm releasing it, well, it's out now on GitHub. I released it yesterday. If you want to hear more about it, so I'm going to go over at a really high level in this talk. If you want to hear more about it, I'll actually be presenting over at Black Hat Arsenal at 10 a.m. Come ask some questions. I've got stickers that I made in Microsoft Paint that you can pick up. So Social Attacker, you feed in, sorry, one second. So Social Attacker is the same as Social Mapper. It instruments the Firefox web browser. But this time, instead of just finding people, it logs into the social media sites and it starts sending the targets that you feed in. So you feed in the Social Mapper results into Social Attacker, and it goes to all the profiles for all the people it's found, and it starts connecting to those profiles, sending them, friend requests on Facebook, connection requests on LinkedIn, following them on Twitter, sending them friend requests on VK. It then waits a while for the users. You can specify the time. I usually go like 24 hours or something, and then it waits for the users, obviously, to interact with what you've sent them, accept the request, and anyone who does accept the connection request and everyone you follow on Twitter then gets sent phishing messages that you define. And obviously, it's up to you to do your pretext, do your campaign, however you want to do it. So the benefits of this are, you get full testing. You're actually connecting with people. You're seeing who's accepting connection requests from strangers who they don't know. You see who's actually clicking on links that you send them. So it's like a full testing suite. The cons of this is it's slower. You have to run Social Mapper, then run Social Attacker. So it's a longer test period. But also, I do recognize that it is intrusive on private profiles. You're having to connect directly and test your employees' social media profiles. So again, what this looks like in the terminal, you can see you feed in, it's a Python tool again, you feed in the Social Mapper results. We specify the add fish function, so just adding people and then fishing them. We do -A, which is fish all social media sites that are in the tool. And then we set our message, so just our basic pretext for this is, hey, first name, what do you think of this, with your phishing link. And you can see it's got some basic stuff, so you can be a bit more dynamic with your phishing messages. So first name gets overwritten by the first name of the person, and the tracking ID, that's a unique tracking ID, so you can properly test who's clicking on the links. And we have some stuff in the tool as well, which basically blocks out the Facebook and Twitter crawlers, so you don't get poisoned logs by, so if you see, so you don't get poisoned logs by the crawlers, and it doesn't just look like everyone's clicked on the links. You actually know who has clicked on your link. And then this is just some stuff to do verbose output and show the browser, so you can see the progress of it. But then the -W, that's setting how long you should wait between adding people and phishing them. So that's 24 hours in this. Oh no, sorry, I'm not done on the slide. So then you see it starting running in the browser, in the terminal. So it logs into Facebook, it tries to add me on Facebook, it logs into LinkedIn, adds some people on LinkedIn, so it connects with them on LinkedIn, goes on Twitter, follows some people on Twitter, goes on VK, adds them as friends as well. And then it starts looping for the 24 hours, like we said. After these 24 hours, you see similar output in the tool, sending the phishing messages. But this is what you get. So a social attacker report at the end, you get, again, like Social Mapper, a nice HTML report. So you can see what profiles the person has. You can see what phishing messages you sent to them. And you can see like the dynamic tracking IDs here have been, so you can see which sites that they've clicked on. You can see if they have clicked on the link. You can see the IP address that the click has come from. You can see the timestamp of when they clicked on the link. You can see if it wasn't clicked, or if the message wasn't sent because they didn't have a profile. And then you can also see the browser agent that the click came from. And this is useful because if you start, doing some analysis on the user agents and comparing them to the timestamps, you can start seeing like, oh, is this person coming from a laptop during office hours? And then, are they clicking on links from random people on social media on my work machines or the work machines that we issue them? So then you can start seeing if it is, having these alternative vectors into your organization. So we talked about the testing and what you can do. So how do you protect yourself? 'Cause this is a white hat conference. Defenses. How can you protect yourself? So some basic stuff. If you're just looking out for yourself, don't use the same name on every one of your social media sites. Use an alias on Twitter. Use just your last initial and first name on Facebook, and use your full name on LinkedIn or something like that. Don't accept connection requests from people you don't know. Don't click on links from people you don't know, like basic child hygiene. And then if you want to be super paranoid like myself, don't use your face in your social media profile. But you don't have to do this. You can use a picture of your pet dog or something in your profile picture, and if Social Mapper still links you to your pet dog, then you've got worse things to worry about, right? So protecting your organization. If you're looking after your organization, what can you do to protect your employees? Run some social media awareness testing, like I've talked about. At least run Social Mapper. If you don't want to run Social Attacker, run Social Mapper and identify everyone and say, hey, just so you know, you're linked to our organization through this type of reverse searching and enumerating across the organization. And warn them about social media phishing. It is on the rise. It is becoming bigger. Add it to your standard phishing awareness trainings. Just add a slide. I'm sure you're already doing some stuff on email-based phishing awareness. Just add an extra slide saying it could happen on social media too. And I think the big one is asking your employees not to link themselves to you on LinkedIn. So this is what this looks like. I'm sure you've all seen this on LinkedIn. So for the BBC, you can see they've got 38,000 employees linked to them on here. And the reason this is bad is because if you click on that, you can pull out, as I've said before, 1,000 people. You can do enumeration on a company so easily and pull out target lists and use Hunter.io to find their email format, and then you've got 1,000 emails to phish. So the reason people appear in this reverse search and can be pulled out is because on their personal profiles they're linking the logo here to the organization. So I would just say, encourage your people to either be super confidential and don't tell them where you're working, or just don't link the logo here, and then you won't appear in the reverse search and stuff. So just to sort of finish off with some advice to social media sites, we're using Selenium and a Python library to instrument the browser, do this automated scraping, all these connections and things. Like especially for Social Mapper, if an account is doing 1,000 searches overnight on Facebook at 30 seconds apart on each one, maybe that's not a legitimate person. Maybe that should be banned. And I've never had an account banned for doing this. So maybe the social media sites need to start doing some work detecting that there. I also think if you're going to be sending connection requests, and we need to move away from name-based searches, like it's really handy, but it also sets the bar really, really low for sending connection requests and looking up people and finding them. We can move to a model like WhatsApp and WeChat have, where you have to have a phone number or you have to have someone's email address before you can make that connection request, and it just adds an additional level there of security. So I do have to just pause here and give a short disclaimer. Like, running these tools will break social media sites' terms and conditions. Your accounts could be banned. Also, targeting your employees' private social media profiles is likely illegal in a lot of countries. Check your local laws before running this type of test. But I will inject here that I had a very nice man walk up to me last night at the meet and greet, and he was just asking and saying he had an internal social media application internal to his company. And with some small amounts of editing a few class names in the Selenium tool, you could change Social Mapper, and Social Attacker to be able to run on your own internal social media sites. And then that will be perfectly legal to test on. So you can do stuff like that. And obviously, don't target organizations you don't have permission to target. So just to wrap it up and conclude, I think as attackers pivot to social media with their phishing, it's really important for us to bring awareness to this issue. This will hopefully encourage social media sites to crack down, detect, and prevent automated phishing and scraping. It'll also hopefully prompt people and organizations to protect their profiles. Additionally, I think we need to have a think about reviewing our laws and consider if they're impeding security testing. Attackers are increasingly pivoting to personal profiles and personal devices in order to attack organizations. So should we change our laws so pen testers and red teamers are allowed to properly emulate attacker techniques, so we can test awareness and educate people on how to avoid issues such as social media-based phishing? Or should we leave current privacy preventions in place at the risk of security? I guess that comes down to the age-old issue of security versus privacy, and I'll leave that up to you to decide on. And that's it from me. So, no, sorry. Yeah. So if you want to contact me, ask me any questions about the tools, how to run them, or just have a general chat, feel free to email me, connect with me on Twitter, and these are the links to Social Mapper and Social Attacker on GitHub if you want to run them and try them out. And yeah, thank you very much for coming. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Yeah, I think there's a microphone somewhere. Well, I've been working on them for like the last year and a half. No. Any other questions? Yeah, I think you're meant to go to a microphone. Do you want to go to the microphone and ask it? Yeah, so the question was, do you have to make a fake persona to make the initial request? Yeah, so I wouldn't use your actual social media profiles to do any of this testing. Like I said, the accounts could definitely be banned. Yeah, you just it's really simple, just get a fake email address, get a burner phone or something and make a fake account. Any other questions?
One more in the center.
Yeah.
Can I just tease you out on one of your points? Like unlinking individual profiles from the company profile in LinkedIn is probably a bit of a bitter pill for us. Can you just expand why you feel that that's advisable in a little bit more detail?
Sorry, it's actually worse than coming through the microphone. Could you just come forward and say your question just to be personally sorry? Yeah, no worries.
Secondly, like unlinking individual LinkedIn accounts from the overall company account.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I would probably find hard to do in my organization. Can you just tease you out on why you feel that's advisable?
Yeah, so there's lots of tools that do this. There's a nice tool called Attack Surface Mapper, and there's another tool called LinkedIn. It's been doing it for a while. And basically, when you scrape all the employees off, you're basically getting. If you feed the first name and last name into this, there's basically this API called Hunter.io, and it tells you the email format for the domain. So I'm sure you all know, it's like, what does your company use? Like first initial last name or first initial dot last name, something like that. And then you start getting, just from all the people on LinkedIn, you start getting their email addresses, and then obviously you shave off the domain, and then you're getting the email address, and then you're getting the usernames. And I've done penetration tests where I've done that. I use the usernames and I do like a password spray, and I get into one of those 1,000 accounts using password 1 or something like that. So that's why I think it's important that you move away from linking yourself on LinkedIn, because it's so easy to reverse search the company, pull out 1,000 people, pull out 1,000 accounts. So even not just for social media phishing, but for network testing and external testing and things as well. It's just not good security practice, in my opinion. No problem.
So now that you've got a way to kind of measure how much people are going to connect with fake fish via LinkedIn or via social media, have you seen any advice that you give folks besides just be aware that really drops that rate?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm from the UK, right? So we're not allowed to test our employees. That's what I'm saying. I can't do this. So I'm just open sourcing a tool, bringing awareness to the issue, really, right? So it's a proof of concept. So I haven't, actually done any testing that I can, give you verifiable data on. Yeah, just awareness and things like I said, unlink people from LinkedIn and stuff. I think really is probably the best sort of stuff. So. Cool. I think I've got 15 seconds, but does anyone else have any other questions or want to chat? If you put your hand up, I'll go to the Q&A room. Cool. That's good. Well, thanks.